Currently, I'm a P3 student. So last semester we took ID, which is a class on the therapeutics of taking care of infectious diseases, like using antibiotics and different things that you might see in the hospital. So we had a Dr. Timothy Gauthier, who is an infectious disease specialist at the Miami VA, I believe. And he also has an online social media account called ID Stewardship, where he posts different things about infections that occur and different facts about drugs. So the medicinal chemistry behind how the medication work and adverse drug reactions and different things that might occur in the hospital and how they treat it. So at the beginning of the study, or hypothesis was that a majority of the class might find supplemental information online helpful, considering the fact that a lot of students are active online, and nowadays people spend most of their times on social media. Most news are, CNN use social media a lot more than their channels nowadays. So a lot of information people receive is through social media. So the idea was that supplemental information for education would be helpful also through social media. So how we went about doing this research is students were given a pre-survey on their perception of the research, how they look at using social media, if it would be helpful or not. And at the end of the semester, the students were also given a post-survey to see how perception might have changed throughout the entirety of the semester, if the information was helpful or not, or if using the social media accounts were effective. So at the end of the surveys, end of the semester, we statistically analyzed the pre and the post survey to see if anything, any correlation between the student's perception had anything to do with the social media account, or if there's anything statistically significant involved in there. We used a chi-squared statistical test for the information. So the methods, as I mentioned before, the students were given a pre-survey, and Dr. Timothy Gauthier, he presented his information. It was a composition of information that he got from Dr. Shaheen, who was an infectious disease professor here. So he knew what we were learning, but not exactly what we were being tested on at the time. So all the information he posted were things we're going to learn throughout the semester. So he will post it weekly, every other day, usually on Wednesdays and Fridays. And students were able to see it if they follow his Instagram or his Facebook pages. So the posted information pretty much were able to be viewed by the students. They could use it for anything, to review for exams or to help them get a better understanding. And the survey pretty much assessed to see if the information was helpful or not. Because there's also the fact that he didn't know what we're being tested on at the time. He was posting information that he expected us to learn. So the data was analyzed, and pretty much the results showed that after 72 students took the pre-survey, that was the entire class, 95% of the class completed the pre-survey and only 50% completed a post-survey. So 66% of the class completed a post-survey. So initially, 39% of the class were following the ID stewardship page already, and the percentage increased to 82% by the end of the course. So by the end of the course, more students started following his page. And all the students agreed that the social media profile enhanced their learning throughout the semester. And we used a chi-square analysis, and we got a p-value less than 0.001, which showed that there was like a positive correlation between what we perceived would occur throughout the semester, if that would be helpful, and the student's actual perception of the information. So a majority of the students did find it to enhance their learning. And so in the pre-survey, one of the questions we asked is, what kind of social media profile students do follow, and we had 43% that did follow Twitter, and there's 36% that followed Facebook. So Twitter and Facebook were the most popular ones previously, before the research, that students were already following. And we also asked the students their perception on delivering educational information through social media, and about 41%, actually not 41, 60% did feel like it was a good idea, and the rest felt like using social media wouldn't be helpful initially. And also their thoughts on doing this research. So around 40% felt like the research was interesting, and there was like an indifference of 22% didn't really care about the research or if we conducted it or not, but majority of the class were excited to see what the results would be. And for how likely they were to create a social media account, if they didn't already have one, just to see what was being posted, 60% of the student versus 40 said they would create a new social media account on a platform they weren't already using if their professors in different classes were using those platforms to deliver helpful information. So the social media account, pharmacy students followed, mostly we saw was Facebook, was the one that most pharmacy students followed. 52% of students followed Facebook, the Facebook ID stewardship page, and the majority, 53% of students, use the information to discuss or review before exams. So that's most of the students used it as a way of reviewing information that was going to be tested on. So even though he didn't receive anything that was going to be on the exam, he had an idea what was going to be taught, and most of the time when he posted something, it was something that we're currently learning. And the students learning, or if they found that we had a question if students found the infectious disease stewardship page helpful to their learning, and a majority of the class, 64%, said they found it to be helpful overall throughout their learning. So like our conclusion was that utilizing social media platforms can be helpful as supplemental material to help students learn. Students did spend a lot of time on social media, and they did see a lot of information, and it seemed like it was a very effective way of getting information to the students. So overall, that's what the conclusion of the research was, and the data that we have did prove that. And I'm open to any questions. Dr. Norton?
I'd like to know, it would be nice to see what Dr. Gauthier posted.
Oh, some of the things.
What did the tweets look like? What did the Facebook page?
It posted almost, it was almost like a blog, and he'll have like a picture, for instance, he'll have something funny. Like we'll have like a medication like, which one? Like clarithromycin or something that caused a lot of GI effects. He will have like a picture with like a patient like diarrhea warning or something like that. So it's something funny. So when he has like a lot of humor to it. When you click on it, then you'll see a lot of information about the medication and how it's being dealt with in the hospital setting. So it kind of gives students an idea of what's being done in practice. And it helps you to memorize stuff better or learn stuff better by seeing it from different platforms instead of just reading it or learning it from the professor.
I'd like to ask you one more question.
Sure.
You said 70-something people took
Yeah.
the pre-survey.
Yeah.
Was there any incentive to take that survey?
The pre-survey, there was no incentive, or the post-survey. So there was like a drop of 20 people for the post-survey. That was towards the end of the semester. During finals week, we were given the post-survey. So that's why there was such a big drop. There was no incentive.
No incentives were given.
Dr. Della Vecchia?
Just flew right out of my head. Come back to it. I'm sorry.
Tomachoka?
Yeah, it was me. Sorry, I was late. But the Facebook page you used, was that, whose Facebook page was it?
It was
Owned it?
Dr. Timothy Gauthier. He's the one that ran that Facebook page.
Oh. And he is what?
He's an infectious disease pharmacist, so he works at the VA center.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't something that we had.
It wasn't one of our things. He still posts to this day, I believe. He
Still
still has posts every Wednesday and Friday about different infectious disease medication or trend.
Oh, you guys just pointed them to
Yeah, to follow the page and see if it will be helpful throughout the semester.
Because I tried something a couple of years back where I had a Facebook page, it's not a personal page, but like a group page, and students didn't like it. Oh, stay out of our space, baby. Interesting that it seemed to help you.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. The comment or question I was going to ask is what constituted following his blog? So did you just have to sign up
You
look
just
at it once?
you pretty much have to hit a like button to like his page, and then you will get like different updates every week when he did post it. So it was kind of easy to follow it just to get the students to do it. I heard
Do
about
they
that
have to
research.
actively go to it each week, or does it come
It just pops
directly
up
to them
automatically.
and they look at it or choose not to look at
It pops up on their timeline every week, and they could choose not to look at it or look at it.
Okay, so that really wasn't, you didn't really capture whether they were actually looking at it
Yeah.
every week, but
It would have been nice if there was an assessment tied to that, or a tweet, whatever.
Oh yeah.
It'd have been, that would have really given you more information about
It would have
the
been.
utility of these.
I think we could definitely use social media, like especially when teaching students. Like it's during the lecture, half the class is on social media anyway.
Yeah, right.
Did any of the students have privacy concerns about creating a social media account, or did all of them already have social media?
All of them had some form of social media accounts because he has a Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. They might not have had Facebook, but they might have Instagram. So they had it was convenient for whatever profile you had.
I'm just wondering, we're switching to a new learning management system from e-college, and so I talked to some students, and they're just like, e-college isn't just not cool. I don't know, whatever, So this Canvas is supposed to be more mobile friendly and have things pop up. I mean, we don't really know what it'll look like, but do you feel like students were more receptive to going to Facebook just because it was more convenient because it popped up on your phone, or is it because it's somebody completely different from the professors you see all day long and you're just tired of listening to them, so you want to hear it from a third party just to make sure that the people that are in front of the room are telling the truth?
I think honestly, they'll be more likely to follow a new platform other than their personal social media account because of the privacy reasons. So we were actually talking about using a app that other schools use, because other schools have like a Facebook profile that they use for their schools where they'll have things pop up on a timeline, things that's happening on the campus and different things. So that would be a better way of presenting it other than going on their personal profile, because some students are more reserved than some.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, they're Any other questions?
Yes.
Is there plans to repeat this next time around, or?
The plans with this right now, so we're gonna talk to.
Moving on.
Oh yeah, Dr. Shaheen is gonna present it. We're gonna make a more composed presentation with Dr. Timothy Gathia, his opinion on it, from his point of view from posting it, and we're gonna present it at pharmacy teachers conference, and see what other schools have their opinion on it. 'Cause other schools did research according to with social media being used in the classrooms, and to see how it affects the learning. It might be something that a lot of schools are adapting right now, but they might not be using the Facebook or Instagram. They might use something more specific to the school. Any other questions? All right. That'll be it.